Ready, set, go.
Look at this. Look at this. Right here. This is some good stuff right here. This is what we've got. Oh yeah. Freaking Tiny Bunny is back, baby. Tiny Bunny is back with chapter 3. This came out like maybe a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. Like right around the time that I was uploading the episodes for chapter 2 onto YouTube. Yeah, I know. Welcome to Tiny Bunny. If you're new here, it might be a little weird watching this stream because there's going to be a lot of stuff that might not make sense outside of context, but maybe you're into that. Maybe you prefer to have less context. It'll certainly be a more bizarre experience. Either way, glad you're here. Yeah, last we left our heroes, one of our bullies got yoinked, absolutely ganked by whatever the frick has been out there in them woods. So on one hand, it's a little concerning because there's something out there that's just snapping kids up. That ain't good. But on the other hand, we don't need to worry about our bully anymore. So, you know, there's nuance to it. Anyway, the cold left the room, but the fear was still present. I placed my glasses on my nose and started studying my reflection in the window. It didn't look like a face, more like a death mask. Just like the one worn by the boy from the notice board. That night, I was on the edge of joining him there. We can't think too much about this stuff, can we, though? A black and white face was staring at me through the clearing between student heads. Oh yeah, it was Semyon. It was Semyon himself. He was the big one. Yeah. And it wasn't Vova. His face was right beside it. I recognized the fat cheeks, the damaged skin, the two things that the narrator would not let us forget about was the fact that he was a large child and he had bad acne. Would not let us forget those things. Semyon. Babarin's photo was printed out and placed under the glass, like an exhibition piece. Okay, I understand with the two names. Babarin is his last name, Semyon is his first name. I was getting confused. I was like, what are these nicknames? But no, it's just sometimes you refer to someone by their last name. Oh boy. Oh, right. This is the end of the second chapter. Episode 3. On end, the wolf's gray fur will stand. Here we go. He's the one who hated Babarin. Oh, you think he did it? Are they talking about me? Are they immediately assuming that I killed Semyon? I've heard he's a weirdo. I hurriedly rubbed my glasses. The glasses! Semyon was clutching them in his fist while I was getting beaten up. And in just a couple of hours, this lost item was lying on the ledge of my window. Right, I also remember that. That was weird. Just something or someone returned my glasses to me after an interaction with Semyon. It was hard to imagine that Sioma suddenly got a guilty conscience and returned my glasses in such a strange way. Yeah, that doesn't seem too likely. No. I was shocked, but kept walking toward the classroom, accompanied by nasty whispers all around me. That photo still stood before my eyes. Semyon has gone missing. Semyon is gone. His fat fingers will never get to my throat. His signet ring won't smash into my chin. He'll never humiliate me again. Wasn't that what I wished for? Like, I guess. On the other hand, did I really wish Semyon to become a murky stain on the notice board? I don't know if we specifically wished for that. He was still someone's son or a grandson, and he went through the same struggles as me. Oh, now we're having empathy for Semyon. It makes sense, but he was a pretty mean kid. He was a very mean kid, so I'm not gonna, yeah. Did I really wish for my unseen companion to dispatch him in such a brutal fashion? Did I really ask for these noises in the background? I'm not sure what I'm hearing right now. I didn't know the answer. Or I was just scared of it. Nonetheless, school still had something nice about it. Oh yeah, Polina, the girl that has a weird thing about dogs. Like, she really, really hates dogs. I guess because a dog injured her grandpa. Polina, the girl with a violin. It's like a mountain spring. Like well water that you gulp down, pressing your lips against the zinc outer ring of a bucket, and can't ever get enough. I mean, she's okay. She's nice to us. The dogs thing is a bit, like, should probably keep an eye on that. I'm not sure if that might manifest in other ways, but for the most part, she's fine. What if I make her one of the characters in the story I'll draw? The protagonist will save her from terrifying monsters, or just make her the protagonist. Just make her be the protagonist. She'd be great for it. As soon as I thought of monsters, a bunch of my classmates slid down the rails, smirking like the xenomorphs from The Alien. Do you mean just Alien? Is that what you're talking about? Just Alien? I immediately felt larvae of fear writhe in my stomach. We're back with the writhing. Larvae of fear is good, though. That's you get points for that one. I didn't want to cross paths with Romka and Biasha after what happened yesterday, especially since Semyon suddenly went missing. But here we go. I guess we're gonna be interacting with them at some point? Maybe? Who knows? I entered the classroom and went toward the last row. All the chatter suddenly died down, so I walked there in complete silence. Yeah, that might be because of us. It felt like my classmates pushed and poked me with their stares. They carefully observed my every move. I, too, do not enjoy being perceived all the time. They looked at me with a mortifying mix of pity, ridicule, and derision, like a scientist looks at an ugly representative of a newfound species of worms. Okay. I get it. Sure. I stared at the desk with a huge pile of library textbooks on top, my fists clenched. It felt like I was the one who disappeared in that snowy forest, and my desk was finally used for something worthwhile. Semyon's empty chair stood in front of me. The chair that once belonged to Vova was gathering dust somewhere in another classroom. I guess we're sitting down. I don't have a whole lot of other options here. After a moment of hesitation, I sat down at Baburin's desk, the place where I was supposed to be assigned by Lilia Pavlovna at first. The chatter resumed, as if someone just unpaused a movie. Baburin's grandma made such a fuss when she didn't return home. First, she ran to the school, then called the cops. Yes. Okay, well, alright, Katya's doing the gossip. Katya snuck a cunning glance at me, then leaned into her neighbor and whispered something. I have to fart so badly, but I can't. This is unrelated to the boy that I'm currently staring at. I just wanted to let you know that I have to fart so badly. Girls from the second row also leaned in. She shared something with them too. Whispers, nods. Everyone needs to fart at some point. If you hold it in, it's unhealthy. You gotta let that shit go. Don't let the shit go, because that's a bad time. But you let the fart go. You gotta get that release. I kept catching her stare on my stealth. I kept catching her stare at me. Her neighbor stared too. The whole class was watching me. It was like they felt the need to watch me because they were searching for traces of blood on my fingers. I don't know if that's exactly what they're looking for. I think they're just trying to get a read of me. They're just trying to, like, find a reason to judge us. I wanted to defend myself and shout, "Guys, listen, I'm innocent!" That would not work. The delinquents turned around and stared at me in silence. Yeah, it makes sense that they would be suspicious at least. If anyone's going to be suspicious, it would be the only other person that Semyon would have seen before he disappeared. So it makes sense that people are being suspicious of me. Their looks were dripping with malice. But why? You can't think of any reasons why. The ones I just listed. What did I do to them? Their friend went missing, and they're still focused on me. Yes, because you're the common denominator here. You're the one thing that they and the incident have in common. Suddenly, I noticed Biasha drilling a hole in my nose with his eyes. Why my nose? Why my nose? I already have 2 holes in my nose. I felt like he was about to point his finger at me and shout at the top of his lungs, "Everyone look! Barberin snatched his glasses yesterday, and now he has them back. Murderer!" But he remained silent as if there was nothing special at all about my glasses, which I don't know if there necessarily is anything special about my glasses. I may be going mad, but I think Biasha knows something. He knows something, but he won't tell me what. Well, of course not. Probably doesn't like you very much. As if looking for protection, I clutched the ruler until my hand hurt. You don't have to be Columbo to solve this. Who held a grudge against Barberin? Who hit him yesterday? Bullied him and then... Well, but he was bullying me. The 3 of them were bullying me. It was a team effort. They literally punched me in the face. Like, sure, I punched back. But, like, they emptied out my backpack. They destroyed my snowman. It was not an even score of crimes here. The metal ruler fell out of my weak fingers. It hit the floor with a jingle, and that made the other kids shudder. Katya bit her tongue and squirmed nervously. Oh, did she? Chairs scraped against the floor. My classmates moved away from me, closer to the exit, toward the teacher's desk. Like, fine, if you're gonna give me space, that might actually be nice for me. I was not the only one to catch wind of that change. Romka and Biasha looked around and winced in contempt. Too bad that they weren't afraid of me like everybody else. It might be good to have a couple of people that aren't intimidated by you and might actually talk to you. Shut it. I bet you Barberin just got a whipping from his old hag and ran off. They'll find him soon. They'll find him all right. In a ravine with his stomach cut open. Okay, Katya, no need to get graphic about this. This is unnecessary. You're causing unnecessary stress to everyone around you. I gulped. Oh, hey, look at this. I imagined Sioma on a snowy blanket, his face white like a fish belly, split down the middle by the crevice of his mouth, snowflakes falling on his glassy eyes and filling up his throat. Why is he called Sioma? Why is that his... C. Or, oh, Sioma is the main guy, the head honcho. See? I could almost hear his condescending tone. It's all your fault. Why was Semyon the only one to get his just desserts for bullying me? Weren't all of them supposed to disappear? Romka, Piasha, Katya, along with every laughing onlooker. Okay, bud. Alright, calm down. Sometimes people are just shitty. It doesn't mean they deserve to be friggin' massacred. Of course, Semyon did me a favor by disappearing. Thanks to him, my classmates now stared at me in awe. That was only one side of the coin. What if I'll have to repay that favor soon? The door cracked. Polina entered the classroom. I straightened up in a hurry so she wouldn't see me looking like a scared critter. Polina went to her seat without looking at me. Oh, that's not good. That is not a good sign. The ringer's trill announced the start of the class. All right, stop messing around. Class, stand up. Yoto Petrov. Lilia Pavlovna went to her desk, followed by a policeman in a uniform. Hey, we've seen this guy. It was the man that visited us just recently. Tall, and his stare so sharp you could get cut on it. Hello there, kids. Hi. You can sit down, kids. This is Senior Lieutenant Konstantin Vladimirovich Tikhonov. Not necessarily a name that fits a guy that I've given an Irish accent, but here we go. Not everyone in this story has Russian accents. I couldn't do it. He's going to ask you a couple of questions and give you a small PSA. Okay, the class livened up, talking to a policeman. Policeman was way better than studying. I, on the other hand, was ready to sit through hundreds of hours of Russian literature just to escape the lieutenant's oppressive stare. I'd sit through hundreds of hours of Russian literature, oppressive stare or not. I feel maybe there are some oppressive stares to be found within the Russian literature, maybe, but I'm interested to find out, quite frankly. His brown eyes felt around the classroom, looking for me. Hair stood on the back of my neck, and an icicle had lodged in my gut. Is it true that Barbarin got killed by a serial killer? Shush, Katerina. Let the adults ask questions here. We're all scared. Maybe the killer is somewhere close. Maybe they're even sitting among us. Her sly stare was directed at me. Yo, Kachi kinda sus, don't you think, though? Tikhonov stepped in between the rows of desks and started walking at an excruciatingly slow pace, brushing his fingers against the chairs he passed by. Some of the students almost broke their necks following his movements. Don't do that. It's bad for you. Bad for your health. That's how a crowd of commoners would gleefully anticipate a public execution in the Middle Ages. All right. It seems like we're getting ourselves caught in an unhealthy, negative perspective on things. It seems like we're setting up a bit of a self-fulfilled prophecy sort of deal, you know? Maybe if we just, hope for the best and not necessarily expect the worst case scenario, we can get to somewhere in the middle that's a little bit more stable, maybe. And he just walked, getting closer and closer to me. I gritted my teeth to stop myself from screaming. Calm down. Breathe. You didn't kill or kidnap anyone. Hey, dude. Hello, sir. Officer. Sir. Officer. He already knew the answer to his question, but the policeman still asked in a stern voice, Anton Petrov. Yes. Stand up, Petrov. My muscles turned to stone. I got up, unglued myself from the chair. I felt like I could hear all my joints creak in the process. I only wished that Polina wouldn't turn around and see the grimace of horror on my face. It doesn't look like a grimace of horror. Maybe I don't know his face too well. Like, the eyes are definitely wide. There's a lot of fear in the eyes. I don't necessarily see a grimace, though. If only I could be somewhere far away in the forest, digging myself into a snow pile, rolling up into a ball there. The officer stared at me as if he was about to lock a pair of handcuffs on my wrists. I wonder how cold these bracelets are to the touch. He's not gonna just arrest a kid on the spot. He's not gonna just do that, Petrov. I imagined myself getting jailed and put into a juvenile detention center where tens of Semyons would constantly harass me. That does sound like a bad time. Sounds like a real bad time, I will say. I don't know anything. I have nothing to do with this. Nobody is accusing you of anything. For now. Only then I noticed a file that said case number in his hand. It had a gray cover made from rough carton. It flopped onto the desk like a guillotine blade that slid down on someone's neck. Okay, what are we looking at here? With a measured motion, Tikhonov opened the file, still studying me with his gaze. I caught a glimpse of documents and photos. They showed prints on the snow. They looked like animal prints. They sure do. They sure do. Have you talked to Semyon Barbarin before? I only knew him for a week. It was a pretty awful week, I will say. Everyone knows that Petrov hated him. I turned red. You ugly jerk. It didn't feel justified in this situation. I wanted to sink my teeth in to catch his face and chew out her cheek. Okay, alright, bud. Calm the frick down, alright? Like, I realize the stakes feel high, but like, gosh dang. Keep it together. Instead, I replied with the calmest voice I could muster. We had a fight yesterday. But he started it. So I hit him. How hard did you hit him? Not that hard. I mean, I waved my hand indecisively. Tikhonov looked at my fist as if he was surprised that I managed to hit the big kid from the photo. Surprisingly, Lilia Pavlovna came to my rescue. Barbarin is a troubled teen, a true pain in the rear. The officer replied with a meaningful nod and fished out a notebook out of the file. Okay. What do we got here? An algebra notebook. Is this yours? I averted my gaze. It says Petrov on the bottom there, I see, so probably yes. It was a map notebook with my name on it. My classmates devoured me greedily with their eyes. It felt like even the writers on the portraits squinted at me in suspicion. Yes? We found it in the forest. In the area where the tractor driver, who was plowing snow there, last saw Barbarin. I started blinking in bewilderment. Ramka ransacked my school bag. This notebook probably just got lost somewhere in the bushes. The lieutenant knew about the school brawl, but was he aware of the fight in the forest clearing? I had witnesses that could testify to Semyon, and I walking in different directions after that. I looked toward the boys, hopeful. Boys, lads, dudes, chads, chodes, dudes, boys, lads, Ramka, who sat behind Tikhonov, put a finger to his lips. Well, great. And when the officer quickly turned around, he pretended to pick on his nose. Fantastic. Thanks, boys. I deciphered his signal. Boys like Ramka would probably say something like, snitches get stitches, in a situation like this. Absolutely. And after that quaint observation, I'm going to end the YouTube video here. If you're watching live, we're just going to keep going in a moment here. If you are watching live or on the VOD, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're watching. If you have not followed yet, I would love it if you did that. If you have followed and you haven't subscribed, that would also be really great. If you're watching on YouTube, you can like, you can comment, you can subscribe, you can ring the bell, you can head over to Twitch and do stuff there if you want. And yeah, I'll see you later.